Namaskar. Today we are going to discuss about the types of disaster, classification of disaster, how the different type of disaster it is affecting different countries worldwide, what is the profile of disasters, and in India what type of disasters are affecting which state and which part of the country. So, let us start with the classification of disasters, how we define disasters, how we classify disasters. We may define the disasters, it might be natural or man-made, broader classification. Then it may be slow or rapid one, it might be warning which gives the warning, or some disasters which does not give warning, like if we talk about earthquake or some other disasters, we can say we do not get any warning and adequate warning is not there. So, you require to have a better preparedness altogether for whole of the time. But other type of disasters are, we can also define and classify the disasters, but in broader terms and a standard one, the high power committee constituted by Government of India, they classified, they proposed and developed a standard classification of disasters, where broadly the major 5 categories of disasters are existing. We can say one is water and climate related disasters, second is geological disasters, third is man-made accidents, fourth is chemical, industrial and nuclear disasters, and the fifth one is biological disasters. Let us see one by one what are the different type of disasters it is included in the major head of the disaster classification. Talking about water and climate related disasters, drought, hurricanes, cyclones, tornado, floods, hailstorm, avalanche and storm surge, these are the various disasters included in the water and climate related disasters. We are mostly knowing about the droughts, cyclones, floods, avalanche, hailstorm and droughts. So, we will be talking about these type of disasters in due course of time. Second major category is the geological disasters, where we are talking about earthquakes, tsunami, landslides and mud flow. Third one is man-made hazards or disasters, where we discuss about and we include the aviation accidents, rail accidents, road accidents, boat capsizing, where turning the boats in the mid of the river or lake, forest and urban fires, terrorist activities, panic exodus and mine collapse, mine floodings, ocean oil spills. So, these are basically the accidents, man-made accidents, which is classified in third classification or the category of disaster. The fourth one is biological disasters, where we talk about epidemics, cattle epidemics, where anthrax or bird flu, SARS, some type of disasters we are including, food poisoning, pest attacks. So, these are coming under biological disasters. Chemical, industrial and nuclear disasters, we are taking nuclear radiation, toxic gases, pesticides, water contamination, food contamination. So, these are basically in totality 5 major categories we have classified. Let us have a look on the global scenario of the disasters. I am just referring to the EMMRC file, which is basically the CRID International Disaster Database. They have developed a profile of disaster about on the global level and country level also. So, few clips, let us have a look on the few clips of the number of occurrence of landslide disasters by country, where we are finding yellow color, it is the number of avalanche or landslides 0 to 3. So, Africa and America, where we are finding that less landslides have been reported. But if you come to the China, India and certain part of the Africa too, we are finding America, we are finding that landslides are more and more, avalanches are more and more. But if you see Russian part, where 4 to 10 avalanches are reported in the year of 1974 to 2003. If we see disaster type proportion by United Nations sub-regions, where you can see India and China, even that South America you can see, Africa you see, and very clear demarcation has been given where what type of disasters have really affected the continent and the sub-regions. Number of occurrence of drought and famine internationally. So, you will be finding that more than 10 droughts have been reported in the year frame of 1974 to 2003. It means 30 year of time span. India, China, Australia and certain part of the South America, they have been suffering from the acute drought condition. Earthquake, you can see whole India, Pakistan, Afghanistan, part of China, they are earthquakes, and in 30 years of time more than 10 earthquakes have been reported in those areas. Epidemics occurrences in 30 years of time, we are finding India is once again topping, and many of the epidemics have been reported in the country. Floods, whole something like earthquake, India, China, South America, North America, they have been affected by floods. And here red color you can see it is more than 60 earthquake flood events have been reported in the countries like India, China, South American country. Total number of natural disasters event by country, here we are finding India, Australia, China, they are having more than 120 disasters. It has been reported in major disasters have been reported in 30 years of time. Also number of deaths, where once again the India and China, this particular part of the Asia, it has been always topping up, and more than 5,000 people have been affected, deaths plus person affected by 1 lakh inhabitants, that you can just have a look and the profile will be making it more clear. Number of people killed in 2003, India, China once again topping in that way. Economic damage from the natural disasters reported for 2004, this is the report once again I have taken from CRID, and just you can have a look that between 0.5 to 5 billion US dollars have been reported as a economic losses to those countries where the orange color you can see. Also in America, more than 5 billion dollars have been reported as the economic damage. Number of victims affected by natural disasters by 1 lakh inhabitants 1976 to 2005, we are finding that India and China and part of Africa, they have been badly affected by the disaster. Number of persons reported killed by the natural disaster in 2005, where more than 1,000 people have been reported in India and China and America too. So, earlier whatever the slides you have seen, we are finding that always there is a persistent threat to the countries like India, China, Australia and certain part of the South America, Africa. So, once we compare and we are finding that the country overall, the country like India, China, Bangladesh, Philippines, they are mostly threatened by the disasters, natural disasters as well as man-made disasters. If you see Indian profile, in the north we are finding the snow-cladded Himalaya, in the south or east or west if we go, we are bounded by the Arabian Sea in one side and second Indian Ocean is the second side. So, ultimately we are having a very distinct and a specific feature geographically, and geologically also we are very different. And if we see India, we are not only affected by earthquake, but we are also affected by and we are vulnerable to floods, cyclones, landslides and many of the man-made disasters. In out of 35 states and union territories, 25 states are union territories are prone to multiple type of disasters. Our more than 8,000 kilometers of stretch, it is exposed to the tropical cyclones. 40 million hectares of land is vulnerable to floods. 59% of the area, it is prone to earthquake, where zone 3 and more than zone 4 or zone 5 we can accumulate, and we find that 59%, two-thirds of our area, it is prone to earthquake risk. Average losses per year, we lose approximately more than 3,500 people every year. People are losing their life due to the natural disasters. 14.2 lakhs of hectares area, the crop area, it is affected every year, and 23.6 lakhs of houses every year by partially affected or completely affected by natural or man-made disasters. So, this is the annual losses we are getting it out of the natural disasters or man-made disasters. If we see India and profile of disasters in India from 1990 till 2001, we have seen bigger disasters in India like super cyclone of Orissa 1999, more than 10,000 people lost their life. Cyclone of Andhra in May 90, 962 people lost their life. December 96, 971 people lost their lives. Earthquake in Latur 93, it was 9,475 people lost life. Tamil Nadu cyclone in 93 December, 61 people lost their life. And also the Gujarat, everybody knows about that, we have lost more than 13,000 people in Gujarat earthquake. Even the Kandla cyclone in Gujarat, 3,500 people lost their life. Floods in Punjab 1993, 359 people lost their life. Chamoli earthquake, 100 people lost their life. Uttaranchal, Uttarkashi earthquake in October 91, 2,000 people lost their life. So, we are finding mostly we are affected by the floods, earthquake, cyclones and many other disasters are there, which is happening every year. Every part of the country is affected by that. If you see earthquake 1991, as I told you also, the October 20 Uttarkashi earthquake, 6.6 magnitude earthquake was there. 93 Latur 6.3, 97 Jabalpur 6.0, 1999 March Chamoli earthquake 6.8 magnitude, and 2001 26 January 6.9 magnitude of earthquake. It hit the area and we lost thousands of people due to that particular earthquake. Severe floods are hitting all our urban areas every year, and every 2 to 3 years of time we are visited by the severe droughts. Now, just have a look how our profile of disasters is increasing day by day. Just I am showing you the picture where you can see in the left side upper one where the Indian map is shown and all red spots are given, that is the number of earthquakes which has hit the area and what is the magnitude. The bigger circle, it is showing that the bigger earthquake has come, and total events of 3,383 earthquake events have taken place, and this is the profile we have taken it from IMD, Indian Meteorological Department catalog for earthquake. So, this is the data from 1800 till September 2001, and we have been reported 3,000, more than 3,000 of earthquake events in the continent, Indian continent. And you can see here 1962, 1966, 1970 and 2001. This is the seismic zoning of India and how we have increased in terms of seismic vulnerability. Like 1962, our area prone to highest or the very severe earthquake risk zoning, that is zone 5, it was less. But if you come to 2001 and 2002, in fact, where IS 1893 2002 was released, and where we have only 4 zones: zone 3, zone 2, zone 3, zone 4 and zone 5. 1 and 2, they have been merged together. So this is the current picture of our seismic zoning map of India, where we are finding Delhi is in zone 4, and Bombay is in zone 4, Pune is in zone 3, and many of the economic capitals of India, they are in the threat zone. So we require a lot of precautions and lot of improvement and enforcement of the building bylaws, and some sort of techno-legal regime has to be established in our own big and the huge city areas. Now you see the flood area. As I told you, our 40 million hectares of land, it is flooded every year because of the floods, and we find that we can have a look on the zoning, flood zoning map of India, where part of Gujarat, Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha, Andhra Pradesh, even Maharashtra, it has a new profile has been reported, where every year during the monsoon season, our urban areas are flooded because of the excessive rain in the coastal part of India, Maharashtra. Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Haryana, Delhi, they are a regular visitor of the huge floods. If we see the high wind or the cyclones in India, we are finding that there is a classification given by Indian Meteorological Department, and BMTPC has made this particular map, Vulnerability Atlas of India, and we can have a look that there are 6 basic zones, starting from low damage risk zone to very high damage risk zones are there, and whole northern part of India, they are falling in high damage risk zone. And if we go down whole, we can find that our the modern whole eastern coast, they are suffering from moderate damage risk zone, and this is the profile. You can just have a look on that. Now talking about the landslides, it is really very serious concern to our development, and especially we are now looking at all infrastructural development, where all the roads are under construction, the bridges are under construction, railways, we are like, we can quote the example of Konkan Railway, where lot of excavation work has been done, lot of cutting and filling has been done, and after that monsoon season, really we have seen many of the landslides in the Konkan stretch. And this is the landslide zoning of India, which has been developed by BMTPC, and just we can have a look that especially we are finding that Konkan stretch, it is vulnerable in the southern part of or the western part of India. We are finding that the Konkan part, it is prone to landslides, and there are basic 5 categories which has been defined in BMTPC Vulnerability Atlas of India. And northern part, where the Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir, Uttar Himachal Pradesh, and many parts of the northeast states like Assam and other northeast states, they are very much prone to landslides, and we have seen many huge landslides in Uttaranchal, Himachal Pradesh and Jammu Kashmir, and every now and then there is a landslide in the northeast states. India and disaster vulnerability. What are the basic causes for India to be so much vulnerable to the different type of disasters? The first thing is that variation in the geography and geomorphology. As I told you, in the northern part of India, we are having the Himalayan belt. If we go down all coastal areas, central part is the plateau. Gangetic plain is one which creates the different type of threats and the vulnerability to the community. So, because of the variation in the geography and geomorphology, we are finding that India is really vulnerable to various type of disasters. I told about the rapid urbanization. Developing countries, this is the basic problem, and because of the rapid urbanization, we are finding the development is not sustained, it is not safe, and because of that more and more people are caught and attracted by the different type of disasters. High population density, basically the area which is like you say Calcutta or Delhi or Bombay, where the population density is very high. If something goes wrong, there is always chance that disaster is going to be affecting the community. Level of awareness, how the level of awareness is going to influence the disaster. More community is ready and understanding about the cause and impact of disasters, more community will be safe and they can take their own initiatives to protect themselves. And also once the level of awareness is high, even the stakeholders, they prepare themselves for disaster management, they take all initiatives. Even the policy makers, they also show their concern to the community about how they can really save community, save infrastructure, and how to sustain the pace of development. Preparedness level, as I told, the people are aware about the disasters, they will be initiating certain activities so that the preparedness level will be higher and higher. One question is that if the Seattle, it is going to be visited by the earthquake and there is a hit of earthquake, and Gujarat is going to have the earthquake, and in totality we can say that Seattle had earthquake in the past contemporary to that particular Gujarat earthquake. After some time in 2005, there was a Jammu Kashmir and Pakistan border earthquake. In Jammu Kashmir and Pakistan border earthquake, we lost about 70,000 people. In Gujarat earthquake, 13,000 people, and Seattle earthquake, nobody died. So why there is a difference? Earthquake is of the same nature, but the people, the level of the losses and the impacts, they are different. The reasons are very simple. More we are prepared, less will be the impacts and less will be the damages. Poor economy. If the economy is poor, the country is going to be badly affected, because you require to have certain money, certain resources to create your own basic infrastructure for disaster management. If the country is poor, if the region is poor, basically the resources will be given, or the high priority will be given for food, nutrition, health, shelter and education. So once the country is poor, the impacts will be multiplicated, or it will be doubled or tripled, the impacts will be higher and higher. Lack of policy enforcement. Policy also matters a lot, because if the policy enforcement is strict, then the undeveloped control will be prevented, it will be constrained, and because of that less and less damages will be reported or experienced. Now what we need to do? We have seen the world profile of disasters, and there also we are finding that India, China, Bangladesh and country like very neighboring countries to us, they are going to be badly affected. So what initiatives we require to take for that particular preventing or reducing the impacts of disasters? So first thing is that hazard mapping at the grassroots level. What are the hazards? Prior to 2004, we were not knowing about the tsunami, but tsunami hit the our coastal part of eastern part of India and Andaman Nicobar. Then we realized, okay, we are also going to be suffering from the disaster like tsunami. Earlier to that, we used to think that only the Japan and the country neighboring country of those Japan, it is going to be affected by tsunami. But yes, if we would have anticipated and planned earlier, we would have got this particular tsunami also mapped. So it is required that not at the level of the state or the district we require to have the hazard mapping, but also we require mapping for your village level or very absolutely grassroots level. Streamlining disaster management in developmental projects. We have seen many disasters, even Taiwan was affected by your earthquake. and because of that the economy of Taiwan, it was badly affected. So, if we streamline disasters in development process, then those development will be sustained and no much impact will be there in the development process. Creating awareness about disaster and mitigation approach, what we need to do, how we need to do, and what type of measures, structural measures, non-structural measures we can take it for disaster prevention or management. Enforcement of national, state, district management acts. Now, country like India, after Gujarat earthquake, Orissa super cyclone, we learnt a lot out of the disasters, and now the country in 2005 enacted the National Disaster Management Act, and because of that lot of power, lot of activities are coming into picture and they have been surfaced, and they are the state governments and the central government and the national government, they are now compelled, they are now instructed by the higher authority to take initiatives for disaster management activities. Then comes planning for disaster management up to the grassroots level. Till date, we are finding that disaster management planning, it is not appropriate, and we require to take lot of initiatives, not only at the level of the country, at the level of the state, at the level of the district, but also the village level disaster management plans are required to be developed. So, unless until these particular measures we are not taking, disaster will be keep on coming and we will be badly affected by the disaster. So, today in lecture what we discussed? We discussed about the grim situation of disaster at the world and the India level. What are the hazards existing in India and what is the profile? What are the states which is affected by what type of disasters, and what we need to do for effective disaster management. So, this is the overall we discussed in this particular lecture. Thank you very much.